Chapter 83. The one who was the most shocked was definitely Xianxia. Right now, I can still be considered to have understood this man. As long as you go against him even a little bit, he would not let you off. I didn't expect that he would actually change today. He even took the initiative to say that he would accompany me. Is he expressing his goodwill to me? At least he has a bit of conscience. He knows how to curry favor with his wife. Yihua only felt that what Xianxia said was reasonable. If one wants to understand human nature, then one has to get along. Cartoons are only one side of things. Yihua actually wanted to learn a bit from Xianxia. The current situation immediately became clear. Yihua taught Xianxia dark thoughts, while Xianxia taught Yihua how to be a person. This is a bit interesting. After the meal, Xianxia asked her little sister, "Do you want to go out for a walk?" "Forget it, in case someone says that I am a third wheel. Moreover, I am still alive. It hasn't expired yet." Qin Yutong snorted, indicating that she was also famous. She might as well just stay at home and play games. Yihua had already changed his clothes and said faintly, "Let's go." "I will go and change my clothes then. Let's do this." Yihua pulled Xianxia and left. "Hey, I don't look good like this, right?" Xianxia shouted anxiously. She did not even tie up her hair and was still wearing a loose t-shirt. The main point was that it was so long that it could be worn as a skirt. If one did not know, they would have thought that she was not wearing pants. "I feel good. I look like a primary school student." "You." Xianxia knew this fellow just wants to make a fool of me. "I will go and get the car key then." Yihua still didn't know what Xianxia was thinking about. This long and city isn't big, but it isn't small either. We can just walk. Moreover, you need to walk more right now. "But I am wearing slippers." "Carry you." In an instant, Xianxia was speechless and punched Yihua. However, this action was just like a girlfriend acting coquettishly, and it was seen by all the employees on the first floor. I can't help but admire the boss. At the start, this beauty was cold, but in just a few days she broke the ice and even punched your chest with her small fists. Xianxia was startled and immediately changed her mode. "I cannot let my persona collapse." Yihua shook his head. This woman likes to be like this. In actuality, her inner heart is very fragile, and she uses cold arrogance to disguise her inner weakness. When the two of them walked out of Leisure Bar, they just so happened to see Wei Chang and Tang Wei walking over while holding hands. This stunned Wei Chang while Xianxia was sizing them up curiously. Boss. Wei Chang and Tang Wei shouted out. Yihua slightly wrinkled his brows and asked, "You too?" "Boss, Lil Tang is my girlfriend now." Wei Chang was a little nervous. However, when he thought about Lai Gu, there are already 3 of them and I am only one. Will Lai Gu stop me? Of course, Yihua wouldn't stop Wei Chang. He was just too curious. Wei Chang had been following me for a few hundred years, and I have never seen him get close to a woman before. Compared to women, Wei Chang prefers to eat women. Today when I saw Wei Chang today, my 3 views on the world, the 3 views. Yihua nodded his head, and not bad. Wei Chang heaved a sigh of relief. "Thank you for your praise, boss." "Thank you, boss." Tang Wei also thanked him. Although she did not understand why, she felt that this was the right thing to do. "Go get busy." "Yes." Xianxia took a puzzled look at Yihua, then followed after Yihua. Upon seeing that Yihua's brows were tightly wrinkled, Xianxia asked, "What's with that expression of yours? Are you unhappy that they are together?" "No, I'm just curious, that's all." Yihua said lightly. "What's there to be curious about? It's just that their age is a problem. I don't think it's a problem at all." Xianxia was rather open-minded and didn't feel that there was anything wrong with this matter. Speaking of age, we are also a few hundred years apart. Yihua didn't discuss Wei Chang's matters with Xianxia in depth, and while holding on to Xianxia's tender and delicate hands he asked, "Is it really that painful?" "Humph, what do you think?" Although Xianxia was venting out her dissatisfaction, her heart felt sweet. "You will get used to it." "Yihua, if I continue to peel crayfish for you, I will change my surname to yours." Just now she thought that Yihua had changed, but in the end he was still the same, causing her to explode from anger. Meanwhile, Yihua hugged onto his wife's waist and said faintly, "You said that I don't care about you? Did I say something wrong?" "Some care can't be seen, can't be touched. One has to use one's heart to feel it. It's just that you are unable to experience it." Yihua said lightly. "This stupid woman only looks at the surface. I really don't know how she managed to become a big company." "Discade, you are starting to talk nonsense again." Xianxia was clearly lacking in confidence. Thinking back to the past few days, Yihua did care about me a little. In any case, compared to the past few days, Yihua was much better. Walking out of the alley and onto the main street, the two of them were destined to be the center of attention, especially the way Xianxia was dressed. it was too girlish, and she was even wearing a pair of cute slippers. If she were to tie her hair into 2 ponytails, she would almost look like a loli. Xianxia was very embarrassed. It was the first time that I dressed like this, and I looked like I was pretending to be young. Especially those men whose eyeballs were about to pop out, and there were even a few who knocked into electricity poles. Where does that person live? Xianxia had unknowingly held onto Yihua's hand. I don't know. I don't know, Yihua said gravely. It seems like she ran out of the house without knowing anything. I will make a call and ask, Xianxia hurriedly said. One touch and it's over. Yihua looked at the bashful Xianxia and asked, Did you forget to bring your phone as well? Who asked you to pull me out of the house? Xianxia said coldly as she pinched onto Yihua's arm. You sure are quick to shift the blame. In any case, it is all your fault. Forget it, just treat it as taking a stroll outside, don't think about going to mourn. Xianxia let out a deep sigh. Right now, I can only do this. No, this fellow definitely brought his phone with him. Lend me your phone for a while. Do you remember the phone number? Yihua asked back. You only know how to show off. Xianxia was very melancholic. I am completely under the control of Yihua, and I don't even have a bit of leeway to retaliate. If only this man was a bit more obedient. Although I am very gloomy, I feel that this kind of life isn't bad at all. After dinner, I took a stroll with Yihua. Walking on the bustling street, there was no false flattery, there was also no business deception, and there was also no heavy pressure. It was as if all the pressure was shouldered by the man beside her, but he didn't seem to have done anything. Meanwhile, Jiuyi was also very vexed today. Such a thing actually happened in Long'an City. Although it has nothing to do with me, there are still some people who pointed the spearhead at me. I am truly very vexed. Right now, I still have to go and give those rich merchants an explanation. What is there to say about this? If you want to find someone, then go and find Bai family. And that Bai Qi ran away the moment something happened, he is simply shameless. Jiuyi, who was sitting in the Rolls-Royce Phantom, looked at the pedestrians on the street. Those 2 that I met at the banquet yesterday, I probably won't meet them today, right? Please don't appear. The moment you 2 appear, I will be embarrassed. Chapter 84. Damn it. Why did I have to pass by this road just now? Oh my god. I should just get off the car and ask. Yihua and Xianxia didn't pay attention to the cars on the road at all and were only taking a silent stroll. If not for the 2 of them holding hands, just by looking at their expressions, one would have thought that they were strangers. A Rolls-Royce Phantom suddenly stopped at the roadside. Jiuyi quickly arrived in front of Yihua and Xianxia and said with a smile, Boss, lady boss, what a coincidence. Yihua really didn't like others disturbing his peace and quiet. Are you following me? Boss, I don't have that kind of free time. Yihua, it's just a coincidence. Xianxia smiled lightly. I got off the car out of goodwill and greeted you, yet your face turned black. You are not giving me face at all. Lady boss sure is magnanimous. Jiuyi had a good impression of Xianxia. Not only is this woman beautiful, she also has a good heart. Xianxia asked with a smile, Where are you going, Director Gong? Lady boss, don't call me Director Gong, just call me Xiaojiu. Ah. Xianxia was a bit stupefied. This was the first time I met such a humble person. Yihua said faintly, Just call me when I ask you to. Jiuyi laughed dryly, Lady boss, I was just about to go to Qinghe Garden. It's all because of that matter that happened at noon. Murder? Xianxia asked. Lady boss knows about it too. Those relatives of mine are making a fuss right now. I have to go out and talk to them. Just nice, I was just about to go out as well. Xianxia said and poked Yihua's waist. Yihua really wanted to give this Jiuyi a slap. It's fine if you just drove by. Why did you have to get off the car? Are you bored? Can't you see that I am taking a stroll with my wife after dinner? Boss, lady boss, please get on the car. Jiuyi exclaimed that he was very lucky. If the boss went out, things would be much simpler. Just that, will the boss go out? This is a problem, this isn't right. As long as the lady boss goes out, doesn't that mean that the boss also has to go out? Yihua helplessly let Xianxia lead him away. To be honest, Yihua really wasn't willing to go. I might as well stay at home and play games with my sister-in-law. Qinghe Garden was a cemetery in Long'an City. The people who were able to live in this cemetery were mostly the elders of rich people. The price of the cemetery was about the same as buying a house, but the size of the cemetery was even smaller than buying a house. However, today's Clear Harmony Garden seemed to be exceptionally gloomy, and there was even a bit of austere atmosphere in the atmosphere. Xianxia looked at the black-clothed men who were standing on both sides of the hall. Their sleeves were tied with white silk scarves, and they looked as if they were prepared to fight. Xianxia couldn't help but hold on to Yihua's hand tightly. The entire road leading to the park was filled with men in black. The cars that entered were stopped without permission. Of course, they didn't dare to stop Lord Jiu's car. Basically, it was the reporters. When the reporters saw Lord Jiu's car, they were all excited. Driving all the way up the mountain, the parking lot was filled with all kinds of luxurious cars. The entire garden was divided into 5 areas, and they were even marked. Shin clan, Jia clan, Yu clan, Han clan, Li clan. These 5 families were most likely the most famous families in Long'an City. Of course, there was also Qing family. Unfortunately, in just one afternoon, all the juniors had been killed. Although the murderer had been caught, this was not enough to vent their anger. It was also impossible to let this matter go just like that. As the owner of the clubhouse, my family had yet to say anything. When those big shots in front of the morning hall saw that Lord Jiu's car had arrived, they quickly walked over. Lord Jiu really wanted to cry. If this couple wasn't here, how dignified would I be? With them here, I am just like a small follower. Lord Jiu, who was originally sitting at the back of the car, sat on the front passenger seat. After the car stopped, he got off the car first. When everyone saw Lord Jiu getting off the front passenger seat, they were puzzled for a bit, but they didn't think much about it. Lord Jiu, you have finally come. Lord Jiu, you have to uphold justice for us. Lord Jiu, that by family is bullying us too much. This northerner is already riding on our heads. Lord Jiu, you have to be the judge. What's the rush? Can't you see that I still have to open the car door? Under everyone's astonishment, Lord Jiu personally opened the front passenger seat door. Seeing the woman who got off the car first, everyone was stunned. Although the woman was not dressed that well, it was unable to conceal the beauty that was in her bones. That long t-shirt added a different kind of allure to the woman. Those juniors were all dumbfounded. Why is this woman so beautiful? She is too perfect. Li Qinyi was the family head of Li family. He had a very fat build. Who knows how many layers his chin had? Why does this woman look so familiar? Li Qinyi felt that he had seen her somewhere before. Han Wei was the family head of Han family. He had a slightly fat build. I think so too. Yu family's family head, Yuxi's complexion was very bad. Why would Lord Jiu open the door for a woman? Jia Gao Ao, who was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed spectacles, said, perhaps she is some big shot. And Xin Tao recognized Xianxia with a single look, as if he had seen his savior. He knelt in front of Xianxia. Xiao Qing, you have to uphold justice for me. I only have this one daughter. She is usually very obedient, but after not seeing her for a few hours, she has already sent off her daughter. Everyone was shocked. No wonder she looks familiar. She is actually Qing family's Xianxia. How did she become so beautiful? In actuality, Xin Tao was the most miserable. He got his daughter when he was old, and he doted on her too much. She was the kind of person who was afraid of melting when she was in his mouth and afraid of breaking when she was in his hands. Brother, Miao Miao is so pitiful. Xin Shui, that damn fatty, knelt beside Xin Tao and cried very reluctantly. Brother only has this one child, and now that she has passed away, I might not be able to give birth to another child even if I want to. If that's the case, I can only take advantage of my son in the future. This is truly an accident. Xianxia did not expect that Xin Tao would have such a big reaction. She wanted to help Xin Tao up, but Yihua just happened to come out from the car and stopped Xianxia. That's right, this is done on purpose. Kneeling down is their honor, ignoring them is your right. Everyone's gaze landed on Yihua, and discovered that the women of Qing family seemed to be taking this man as their master. This is too mystical, too sudden. Some people recognized Yihua. After all, they had attended the banquet last night and also heard about the gambling house last night. Truly crazy, gambling all of their family's wealth. I heard that in the end Xiao family and Tang family left with a black face. Boss, lady boss, we have arrived. Lord Jiu's heart was bleeding. In the future, if I see them, I will take a detour. The dignified Lord Jiu actually called them boss and lady boss. Just what is going on? Could it be that that man has a special identity? If not, why would Lord Jiu be so respectful? Xiao Xin, the dead cannot come back to life. My condolences. Xianxia said in a deep voice. For a man to cry so pitifully, it could be seen how much pain his heart was in. Yihua did not make any speech. As a man, what does crying count as? If it was my subordinate, I would have given him a slap. Xiao Qing, Lord Jiu, my daughter died in vain, but the murderer that was caught is an idiot. It must be the doing of the rank 1 club. Xin Tao hammered the cement floor, feeling that everything that happened today was done by family from behind. Chapter 85. Jiu Yi took a look at Yihua, and seeing that Yihua did not plan to say anything, Jiu Yi patted Yihua's hand. Let's talk inside. This matter is not a small matter. It can be big or small. Lord Jiu's words shocked everyone. Big or small? What did he mean? Yihua, on the other hand, was hugging onto Xianxia to prevent her from showing the pity of a woman. Towards Jiuye's words, Yihua wasn't the slightest bit interested. "Yihua, let go of me," Xianxia said in a low voice, feeling a little embarrassed. Yihua said faintly, "You have been hugging me for the entire night, and now that I'm hugging you, that's all. Alright, you can go and sleep on the sofa tonight." "Why are you so stingy? There are so many people here. You can hug me all you want when we get home. Follow me?" Don't forget what you said before. In any case, I'm a weak woman. If you want to use force, there's nothing I can do. However, I will despise you." Xianxia flipped her hair indifferently. "I am so beautiful and sexy, it is inevitable for Yihua's beastly heart to burst out when I am hugging onto him at night." She could understand him, but she would also despise him. Yihua took a faint look at Xianxia. "You. That's for the best. Remember that look of disdain in your eyes. In the future, even if you beg me, I won't agree." Yihua took a deep breath. "Do I even need to request anything from you?" Seeing that Yihua was angered to the point that he was taking a deep breath, Xianxia did not continue on. Right now she had learned to not go overboard. Raising her small hand, Xianxia smacked towards Yihua's butt. Yihua looked at Xianxia in disbelief, and after a while he said gravely, "Xianxia, I will teach you a lesson tonight. I won't bow down to evil forces. You will lower your head." Yihua's right hand tightened, and Xianxia cried out in surprise, and her entire body fell into Yihua's embrace. This bastard, he didn't even know where he was. Everyone else was sad. Yihua expressed that it was none of my business. "Boss, let's go in and talk," Lord Jiu said in a low voice. If the boss didn't move, he wouldn't dare to move. As for the wealthy businessman behind him, he saw that Lord Jiu didn't move, so he didn't move either. He just watched the couple in front of him being lovey-dovey. Xianxia wished that she could dig a hole and hide herself. Originally, it was already very awkward for her to come out wearing this set of clothes, but I didn't expect that when I turned around just now, those people would be following behind me. Everyone was speechless. Qing family had a great background in Long'an City, and right now they were even preparing to take root in Zijin City. Although there was still a gap between them and those big families in Zijin City, in any case they were still able to squeeze into Zijin City. As for this man, he was very mysterious. He didn't look like a gigolo. The group arrived at a side room in Clear Harmony Garden. Yihua and Xianxia sat down, and Yihua said faintly, "You two can chat." Everyone sat down, and Lord Jiu let out a sigh of relief. "Everyone, I am also very sorry that such a thing happened, but the dead cannot come back to life. Now that the culprit has been caught, everyone's hearts can be appeased. As for the Bai family, in fact, it is not good for you or me if this matter is blown up." Li Qianyi disagreed. "Ninth Master, our children were murdered in the first-class clubhouse, so the Bai family has to take responsibility." "That's right, Director Li is right." Jia Gao agreed. "Lord Jiu, it can't be that you're afraid of the Bai family and that's why you're siding with them, right?" Yusi asked solemnly. Lord Jiu said helplessly, "I can understand everyone's feelings. It's fine if you want to pursue the Bai clan's responsibility, but you need some time. You can't be thinking of killing your way over, right? Ninth Master, no matter how powerful the Bai family is or how high their status is, they should give us an explanation for what happened." Han Wei's face turned cold. Yihua finally understood. These people are afraid of Bai family and want to use Xiao Jiao as cannon fodder. However, how could these little rich merchants have the guts to challenge the Bai family? Although they were standing on the side of reason, it was still unusual. That was how humans were. They schemed against each other and schemed against each other. It was the same even when they were playing games. "That's right. Do you think we, the South, are afraid of the North?" Li Qianyi said boldly as if he wanted to start a war with the North. Yihua held onto his chin and asked, "Xianxia, how is this Bai family?" "Bai family is very strong, especially Bai family's women. The woman that Wang Debao married yesterday is a woman from Bai family," Xianxia said in a low voice. "How many wives does Wang Debao have?" Yihua asked. "Why do you care about that?" "How many?" Xianxia said coldly. "Wang Debao is very single-minded, he only has one wife." "This Wang Debao is indeed a bit interesting," Yihua said faintly. "Which of those who have a bit of strength doesn't have a bunch of wives and concubines?" "That Xiao Yi and that Tang Wushuang," Xianxia mumbled, "but he dotes on his wife a lot." "You mean that I don't dote on you?" Yihua asked back. Xianxia put on a straight face. "Have you ever doted on me before?" Yihua could be seen leaning towards Xianxia's ear and saying in a low voice, "That night, I doted on you a lot." "Scoundrel." Xianxia couldn't help but shout out and raised her little fist. Unfortunately, her little fist was grabbed onto by Yi Hua. Everyone present looked towards Yi Hua and Xianxia in unison. We are discussing about a big matter, and yet you two are flirting with each other. This is truly infuriating. What are you looking at? Have you never seen a husband and wife quarrel before? Yi Hua said coldly. Everyone was speechless. Chapter 86. The atmosphere at the scene was already awkward to the extreme. Xianxia wished that she could bite Yi Hua to death. The words that I used just now had the intention of belittling him. I really didn't know that he was a cultivator. Xianxia could be heard saying apologetically, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to slander you. Xuanhuan, everyone. Xianxia opened her beautiful eyes wide, feeling that she had said the wrong thing again. Really, being pregnant makes one foolish for 3 years. No. I must have been infected by Yi Hua. He is going to take the blame for me. How could Xuanhuan be calculative with an ordinary person? There were rules in the cultivation world. One cannot harm an ordinary person, if not, one would definitely be punished. Young lady, it's fine. Xuanhuan didn't know how he was feeling right now. It might be the same as yesterday night, that kind of sullen, that kind of powerlessness. Yi Hua reminded, she is not a young lady anymore. Xianxia rolled her eyes at Yi Hua. Is this fellow really going to anger me to death before he stops? Xuanhuan laughed dryly, then said to everyone, everyone, please calm down. I have already reported the matter that happened at noon to the sect. I believe that everyone will be given a satisfactory answer. After all, our south is not that easy to bully. Deacon Xuanhuan is indeed wise. I admire you. Li Qinyi cupped his hands and said with a smile. Jia Gao Ao said heroically, Deacon Xuanhuan, let's not talk about anything else. I will donate 10 million to add food for your esteemed sect. Me too. Yusi shouted out too. Me too. Shin Tao took a look at Xianxia and shouted out too. Xuanhuan thanks everyone here. Forget about the money. I have a presumptuous request. Xuanhuan smiled with his hands behind his back. He had the demeanor of an expert, and his temperament became faintly discernible, not at all like a person who was being hung up. Han Wei said, Xuanhuan is too polite. If there is anything you need, just say it. As long as it is within my capabilities, I will definitely do my best. Actually, it's nothing much. I heard that everyone bought a mountain together and is preparing to develop it. My sect is also interested. The money will naturally be given to everyone, and also my sect's miraculous medicine. Hearing that, everyone's expression immediately stiffened for a moment, but they who were cunning also instantly came back to their senses. Yi Hua could be considered to know what Xuanhuan was planning. From the looks of it, the reason why these few people dared to be so arrogant was all because of that mountain, and this Xuanhuan was planning to get a share of the loot. Lord Zhou was also a little puzzled. Recently they had indeed teamed up to develop a mountain. More accurately, it was a few mountain peaks. At that time he didn't have high hopes for it because it was too remote. Now that Xuanhuan mentioned it, he immediately knew what they were thinking. No wonder they dared to be so arrogant. They had probably obtained some treasures, or they wanted to create a diversion and create chaos first. Only then would they be able to sit back and enjoy the benefits of others. Just that, how did Xuanhuan know about it? Also, what kind of treasure was inside that mountain? Thinking back to why Shao Yi wanted to invest in Long and City, could it be that it was also because of this mountain? Instantly, Lord Zhou's curiosity was piqued. Xianxia stealthily sized up the two cultivators. In the past, I have only seen cultivators in movies or novels, but now that I am standing in front of real cultivators, why do I feel that they are so unreal? Even my view of the world has changed. Are they able to step on the small swords on their back and fly? That was way too powerful. What are you thinking about? Yi Hua asked. Are they really cultivators? Xianxia was still unable to believe the fact before her eyes. Yi Hua said faintly, actually, I am also a cultivator. Xianxia immediately rolled her eyes. Xianxia, your ability to roll your eyes has improved a bit. Yi Hua, your ability to brag is getting better and better. Yi Hua laughed lightly. What if I am a cultivator? You are? A Xianxia, write my name backwards. There is no need for that. As long as you promise to listen to me obediently, you cannot go west when I say east. Yi Hua revealed out a mysterious smile, causing Xianxia to become flustered. Xianxia's eyebrows wrinkled slightly. What kind of tricks is this fellow trying to play again? Alright. If you are not a cultivator, then you have to listen to me, and in the future you have to peel crayfish for me. Alright. Yi Hua agreed very straightforwardly. This woman actually dares to make such a bet with me. She is truly silly to the point of being adorable. Yi Hua could be seen taking out his phone and turning on the recording. In view of the fact that sometimes you always run your mouth off, I have to record it. You are the one who runs your mouth off. Xianxia couldn't help but raise her voice. causing everyone that was sitting at the table to have a headache. Jianhuan laughed lightly. "Madam, can you lower your voice a bit? We are currently discussing some matters." I'm sorry. Xianxia hurriedly nodded her head and apologized. Yihua said faintly, "You all be quiet, don't create trouble for me." It wasn't easy for Yihua to trick Xianxia, so he mustn't let her down. After adjusting the recording, Yihua said, "Speak." Towards Yihua's childlike actions, Xianxia was helpless and said, "If Yihua is really a cultivator, I, Xianxia, promise to be obedient in the future. Yihua will be my sky, alright?" Yihua was very satisfied and kept his phone. "You are a cultivator as well?" Jianhuan asked curiously. "I am unable to see through this man's cultivation." Yihua nodded his head. Chapter 87. Xianxia's brain was unable to function normally and was currently in a frozen state. Not to mention Xianxia, everyone including Jiuyi was stupefied. Even Jianyuan was stupefied. To casually create a living spirit, how is this possible? The face of the young man at the back was filled with disbelief. How can he be a cultivator? This is definitely fake. Evil arts of the pugilistic world, watch my sword. The young man immediately pulled out his sword and stabbed towards the Calabash brother. I want to expose his lies and let everyone here know that he is a gigolo. I also want that beauty to know that he is a swindler. The purple Calabash brother looked at the incoming sword curiously and did not move at all. However, the sword that was glowing with white light easily pierced through the body of the Calabash brother. Everyone couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. A complacent look appeared in the young man's eyes. He even looked towards Yihua, seemingly saying that this little thing is not much, I killed him easily. Yihua did not say anything and poked Xianxia's forehead. Stupid? Xianxia came back to her senses and said, "You are the stupid one. How do you want to deal with them? You decide." Yihua said indifferently. "In any case, I didn't do it myself, so I didn't break the rules." Xianxia punched Yihua. "What do you mean deal with them? Your Calabash brother was pierced through the heart." Pierced through the heart? Yihua smiled and did not say anything. The purple Calabash brother touched the sword and seemed to be very curious. However, just this small action of his made everyone gasp in shock. He didn't die. The young man turned pale with fright and tried to pull the sword out with his right hand, but the Calabash brother grabbed onto the sword and seemed to be very unhappy. "This is my toy. Back off." Jianyuan shouted lightly. "Deacon, I can't pull it out." The young man was very helpless. Just what the hell is this Calabash brother? Suddenly, a purple light emitted out from the hand of the Calabash brother, and the sword was instantly wrapped up. The young man revealed a look of shock and immediately let go of the sword. The Calabash brother swung his hand, and the purple sword floated in the air, looking very dazzling. "Xianxia, do you want them to live or die?" Yihua asked Xianxia, who was absent-minded. Xianxia looked at Yihua blankly. She was getting more and more confused about Yihua. Just what kind of person is he? He knocked on the silly woman's head and said, "You look pretty cute in this adorable way." Why did you knock my head?" Xianxia rubbed onto her head petulantly. "You haven't answered me yet." "Answer what?" "They have offended you. It's not like other people did it on purpose. Forget about it, Xianxia said in a low voice. In the end, Xianxia was still just a little woman. After hearing what Xianxia said, Yihua let out a sigh. "Xianxia, you should know that offending you is equivalent to offending me. Have you ever thought about it?" After hearing that, Xianxia remained silent. "I'll let it go this time, but don't make the same mistake next time." As the wife of a supreme overlord, not only did she have to consider herself, she also had to consider her husband's face. Xianxia bit her lips, not knowing what she was thinking. However, everyone listened to the conversation between the couple. They were simply showing off to the extreme. What did they mean by offensive? Did they think they were emperors? However, they only dared to think about it and didn't dare to say it out. They were afraid that the purple sword in the sky would give them a chill. At noon, the juniors were all annihilated. Could it be that the seniors are going to die together with them at night? Jiuyi finally understood the advice that his big brother gave him before he died. This boss is truly a cultivator, and his strength is even stronger than Jianyuan, truly formidable. The purple Calabash brother lightly leaped onto the purple sword that was floating in the sky, then began flying around. That small posture of his was like he was skiing, showing that he was having a lot of fun. "Mr. has great strength." Jianyuan cupped his hands and said. Yihua said, "Didn't you say that you wanted to spar with me?" Jianyuan's heart sunk. This Calabash brother looks very childish, but from the looks of it, his strength has definitely reached a terrifying level. Spar with me is completely seeking death. Mr. Strength is extraordinary, we are not Mr.'s opponent. We have offended you just now, I hope that Mr. will not blame us. Xuanhuan let out a sigh of relief. A good man should know when to yield and when to advance and when to retreat. What's the use of acting cool for a moment? Yihua felt that it was alright to speak like this. According to his temperament in the past, he would definitely ignore his begging for mercy, but thinking from the perspective of a human, he would definitely want to obtain a greater benefit. Since you are sincerely lowering your head and begging for mercy, then I will spare your life. Yihua said indifferently. Xuanhuan looked as if he had eaten a fly. How am I begging for mercy? I am just praising you. Alright, that's right, this can only be counted as a disguised form of begging for mercy, but aren't you not giving me any face at all? Right now, everyone didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Even Xuanhuan Deacon has to lower his head and admit his mistake, then what do we count as? That purple sword that was floating in the sky was like a death sentence. Whoever dares to speak carelessly would have their heart pierced through. Xuanhuan Deacon, since the boss has already spared your life, you should smile, don't frown. Jiu Yi suddenly stood up and said with a smile, having the intention of hugging onto Yihua's thigh. Why the F*** K am I supposed to smile? Will I beg for mercy? I will never beg for mercy in my entire life. This is the last time I will beg for mercy. Next time definitely won't. No. There won't be a next time. Why did you all butt in? Yihua asked curiously. Xuanhuan went into a daze, then played dumb and said, Mister, what do you mean? Bio. The purple sword had already appeared in between Xuanhuan Deacon's eyebrows. Calabash Brother was lying on the body of the sword, posing like a drunk concubine. If not for the fact that the situation wasn't right, Xianxia would definitely laugh out. Xuanhuan didn't know why, but his body was already out of control. This sword might was too huge, but it was only released by Calabash Brother who was lying on the body of the sword, and from start to finish, that man had only thrown out a purple flame. Think about what I mean. Yihua said unhurriedly, while playing with Xianxia's finger. It was rather tender and smooth. Mister, this is... I don't care what reason you have, I will ask and you will answer. Furthermore, there are a lot of people who are smarter than you here. Yihua said coldly. If not for Xianxia being soft-hearted, she would have already poked his forehead. In any case, it wasn't me who did it, it doesn't count. Xuanhuan was sweating profusely. Why am I so unlucky these 2 days? Sailor Moon and Calabash Brother, I actually got bullied by a character from an anime, can I still have fun? Why is there such a strong person in this Longan city? After I return this time, I definitely have to report to the sect. I will not stay in Longan city even if I am beaten to death. Mister, there is a dragon vein under the mountain that they bought. Dragon vein. Yihua went into a slight daze, and here I thought that it was something that made them fight over it. To make such a big fuss over a mere dragon vein. Under the dragon vein there are a lot of treasures, pills, orbs, techniques and so on. Xuanhuan had the heart to cry and he took out everything. Yihua waved his hand and Calabash Brother instantly dissipated. The purple sword also returned back to its original form and fell onto the ground. And those wealthy merchants' eyes were opened wide. There are orbs and techniques, no wonder our Yunfeng sect wants to butt in. Chapter 88. There was no longer any meaning in staying here any longer. Pulling Xianxia who was absent-minded, Yihua said, Xiao Jiu, call a car over. Lord Jiu immediately stood up. I'll make the arrangements now. Boss, please wait for a while. The driver will be here soon. Yihua nodded his head. This Wei Chang and Lai Gu's temperament is very weird. As long as someone is disrespectful to me, I will kill them without saying a word. Leaving this Xiao Jiu with me can also be used to deal with some trivial matters. If Jiu Yi were to know of Yihua's thoughts, he would definitely be in a dilemma. On one hand he wants to hug Yihua's thigh, and on the other hand he also wants to hug Yihua's thigh to save face. Very quickly, Jiu Ye's Rolls-Royce Phantom arrived, and the driver respectfully opened the door of the car. Yihua pulled Xianxia who was absent-minded and walked out of the side hall. The things that they are talking about are too childish, I am not interested in knowing about it and I don't want to know about it either. Right now, I am only curious about the thoughts of Xianxia, this fool. After knowing my strength, you are already stupefied. Let's see if you are still going to be naughty in the future. Xianxia was indeed stupefied. Never in a million years would I have thought that the man that I randomly found would be a cultivator. I really don't know if this is good luck or bad luck. Could it be that all cultivators have such a bad temper? Asking his woman to peel crayfish and buy pancakes at every turn? On the way back, the two of them didn't converse with each other at all. Yihua was a little impatient. Could it be that this stupid woman was scared silly? Stop at the side. Yihua said coldly. The driver didn't dare to say anything else. He had to pull over even if he had to pay a fine. After pulling Xianxia, who was still in a daze, Xianxia walked to the riverside and gazed into the distance. There were quite a number of couples strolling along the riverside, and there were also many elderly people dancing in the square. The main reason was that the riverside was cool. From time to time, a cool breeze would blow, making one feel relaxed and happy. Yihua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up, then leaned against the guardrail. Meanwhile, Xianxia was standing at the side, and the breeze was blowing her beautiful hair, not knowing what she was thinking about. After finishing smoking a cigarette, Yihua was a bit irritated. Could it be that I have really become stupid? Speak. Yihua said gravely. Xianxia took a deep breath, then asked, Yihua, do you know grafting? What do you mean? Yihua slightly wrinkled his brows. If I learn it, I can absorb your inner force. Yihua, what's the point of learning that kind of inferior cultivation technique? Yihua said in disdain. This woman's hair is too long, but her experience is too short. Do you know 3 flower at one's prominence? Yihua's frown deepened. No, then do you know the Nineteen Sutra? Yihua had the thought of smacking Xianxia's butt. Ah, not yet. Where's the Dark North divine art? You can't even do that. Buddha's palm headquarters, right? Sigh. Yihua, could it be that you have cultivated the sunflower manual? Yihua couldn't bear it anymore and hugged Xianxia into his embrace. Don't you know whether or not I have practiced the sunflower treasured book? Xianxia let out a breath. Just now, I just wanted to tease Yihua a bit, and upon discovering that he is still the same as before, I can finally be at ease. Just that, with the additional identity of a cultivator, I don't know if I will be able to gain face for myself if I were to tell others about it. For example, other people say, my husband is worth tens of billions. Where does your husband come from? Xianxia placed her hands on her waist and shouted out proudly, your husband is nothing, my husband is someone from the cultivation world. If Yihua knew what Xianxia was thinking right now, he would definitely give Xianxia a lecture. To actually compare yourself with that kind of low-rank job. Are you really someone from the cultivation world? Xianxia asked. Yihua didn't know how to reply. What the hell is the cultivation world? If I were to deny right now, would she go back on her words? After all, what I am betting on is whether I am a cultivator or not. However, admitting that I am a cultivator, I feel really low. However, for the sake of teaching Xianxia a lesson, I might as well be a little low. Seems like for this woman, my bottom line is getting lower and lower. Yes. Yihua said indifferently. Then, are you very powerful, the kind that can blow up a car with a punch and can even fly into the sky? Yes. Then, can I fly on a sword? Can I fly into space? But there is no oxygen. Yihua, do you not want to breathe anymore? A few black lines appeared on Yihua's forehead. No wonder you were like that night, so you are a cultivator, you must have taken your medicine. Yihua was really angered and said coldly, you can come and give it a try tonight. Tsk, I won't fall for it. Don't think that just because you are a cultivator, I have to hug onto your thigh and listen to your words. Xianxia pushed Yihua away, stood in front of Yihua, raised her chin and said confidently. Yihua said gravely, did you forget about your vow? What vow? I don't know what you were talking about. I knew that you would be like this. Yihua took out his phone and played Xianxia's recording. If Yihua is really a cultivator, Xianxia, promise that I will be obedient in the future. Yihua will be my sky, alright? After listening to her vow, Xianxia immediately understood, I was tricked by Yihua again. I won't accept this, you lied to me. Xianxia raised up her small fist again, but unfortunately her wrist was grabbed onto by Yihua. Yihua knew that Xianxia would go back on her words and said coldly, do you think that your small fist will be able to harm me? Xianxia's expression immediately sunk as she said, I know that you are a cultivator now and you are very powerful. I am just an ordinary woman, and I am completely not your opponent. If you want to hit me, then go ahead and hit me. In any case, there is no one in this world who would feel sorry for me. After hearing what Xianxia said, Yihua went into a daze. Why do I feel that I am the one in the wrong? If I wanted to hit you, I would have long slapped you into the sky. Look, your expression is that of anger. Go ahead and hit me. In any case, I don't have the strength to fight back. Xianxia said faintly. Her resentment soared to the sky, and the people who were passing by were able to sense that heavy resentment. Even if they were separated by a screen, they would still be able to smell it. Yihua resisted the urge to smack Xianxia's butt. Do you really think that I don't dare to hit you? You are a cultivator, you are the biggest, whatever you say goes. Xianxia spread out her hands helplessly. Don't compare me with cultivators. Yihua shouted out lightly. Cultivators are nothing, just a fart is enough to crush us to death. Sigh, my husband is using his identity to oppress me, sigh. Yihua suddenly felt that if he were to tell her a little bit of things, she would be able to soar into the sky. If I had known that this would happen, I would have kept it a secret. To actually say that I am using my identity to oppress me, you are clearly the one who lost the bet. Seeing that Yihua was not speaking, Xianxia rubbed her ankle and said lightly, I can't walk anymore. Take a taxi by yourself. Yihua said petulantly, then lit up another stick of cigarette. Xianxia snorted coldly, then made a flower-pinching finger gesture. I don't know who was the one who said that as long as my ankle hurts, you will have to carry me on your back. And you are even a cultivator, your mouth sure is full of nonsense. Cough, cough, cough. This was the first time that Yihua choked on his own cigarette. Originally, I wanted to use the recording to educate Xianxia, but in the end, I didn't expect that my identity would instead become a handle that Xianxia could use against me. She is even a cultivator. If I were to tell her my real identity, things would get out of hand. Forget it, I will just slowly walk back. The identity of a cultivator is noble, how can I carry my wife on my back? If this matter were to be spread out, I would lose so much face. Xianxia suddenly added a sentence. Chapter 89. Come up. After a while, Yihua suppressed the impulse in his heart and shouted out coldly. A trace of a smile appeared on the corner of Xianxia's mouth, then she turned her head and said, Really? You won't throw me into the river, right? Come up. I don't want to say it a second time. Yihua really wanted to turn back time. This woman is truly much smarter than what I imagined her to be. Xianxia immediately arrived behind Yihua and patted on Yihua's back. Squat down a bit. As the almighty supreme overlord, Yihua felt tired and helpless as he slowly bowed his body. This is the first woman that dares to be so arrogant towards me. Xianxia suddenly jumped up and wrapped her spotlessly white arms around Yihua's neck. Meanwhile, Yihua began to walk forward, and the scene was rather comical. Because Yihua didn't hold onto Xianxia's legs right now, it was as if Yihua was carrying a corpse. Xianxia, who was on Yihua's back, immediately shouted out, Yihua, if you don't want to carry me, just say it. What are you trying to do this time? This cannot be blamed on Yihua, after all, he had never turned his back on anyone before. Don't you know how to hold my legs? Do you want to drag me home? Yihua took a deep breath. You are the first woman who dares to shout at me. What's wrong? Did I hurt the dignity of the cultivators? Don't mention cultivators to me. Right now, Yihua hated cultivators to the core, and he really wanted to get rid of all of the cultivators. It was precisely because of the cultivators that he was teased by this woman. Xianxia pouted and did not provoke Yihua anymore, because she discovered that Yihua was currently walking towards the riverside. Unknowingly, Xianxia walked to the street, and Xianxia became the object of envy of all women. Look at the others. They all know how to carry their girlfriends. Why don't you carry me? Then why don't you look at other people's girlfriends' bodies? As long as I carry you, you have to give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. You're so annoying. You want to take advantage of me again. The skinny man was already in despair. Was I talking about taking advantage of her? I'm talking about how fat you are. Oh my God, this is so hopeless. Leaning on that broad and sturdy back, Xianxia felt extremely safe. Towards the envious gazes that other people were casting at her, she also happily accepted them. If you guys have the ability, then go and find a cultivator husband to carry as well. Yihua. Xianxia called out softly. Yihua lightly nodded. In actuality, he was silently praying in his heart that Lai Gu and Wei Chang must not see this. Will you really hit me? Yihua stopped his footsteps and immediately slapped onto Xianxia's perky. But, do you think that I dare or not? Xianxia was stupefied. This fellow actually dared to spank my butt in front of so many people. Shameless. Without waiting for Xianxia to start scolding, Yihua took the initiative and said, I have a voice recording as evidence. You better be more obedient in the future, if not, I will spank your butt until it is swollen. Xianxia pouted her small mouth. Humph, you are a cultivator, so of course you can only rely on your martial strength. Yihua remained silent. I swear. Tonight I am going to properly teach Xianxia a lesson and let her know the consequences of going back on her words. Not long after, Yihua arrived at Leisure Bar while carrying Xianxia on his back. Under everyone's astonished gazes, Yihua walked upstairs. Wei Chang swore that he would definitely tell this scene to Lai Gu. Bang. The bedroom door was heavily closed by Yihua. Qing Yutong naturally heard what happened and immediately ran over to the corner of the bedroom to eavesdrop. Brother-in-law and big sister sure are passionate every single day. Sure enough, in just a few seconds, Big Sister's panting sound could be heard from the bedroom. Qing Yutong's entire body was in a bad state. Brother-in-law is simply too ferocious. Big Sister's panting is not panting anymore, she is almost shouting for help. The two of them are simply too hardcore, so perverted. On the spacious bed, Yihua was currently teaching Xianxia a lesson. Don't think too much, I'm just placing Xianxia on my thighs and spanking that sexy little butt of hers. The amount of force that I control is just right, just that. Isn't Xianxia's scream too exaggerated? Yihua, I have seen through you, you only know how to hit your wife. Let me tell you, Yihua, if I am stronger than you, I will use the same posture to spank you. You bastard, are you addicted to spank me? I am a pregnant woman. You can't spank me like this. Suddenly, Yihua recalled that Xianxia was still pregnant with his blood, and immediately stopped. Come on. Why did you stop? Cultivator. Xianxia shouted out coldly. Yihua let out a sigh, then helped Xianxia up and said seriously, Xianxia, can you not make me worry a bit less? Xianxia looked at Yihua in disbelief, then directly pushed Yihua onto the bed and said, Who are you saying is not making you worry? How am I not making you worry? You explain clearly to me. Yihua was a bit absent-minded as he stared at the face that was right in front of him and that charming red lips. Suddenly he recalled that night, that soft feeling, and expressed that he still wanted to try. Sure enough, under Xianxia's adorable expression, Yihua kissed onto Xianxia's lips. Yihua thought to himself in his heart, it is still that kind of soft and a bit sweet. Bang. At this moment, the door was suddenly pushed open by Qing Yutong. Yihua and Xianxia, who were on the bed, immediately looked at Qing Yutong, who suddenly appeared with cold eyes. I heard that the two of you didn't make a sound, and I thought that the two of you had perished together. I will leave now, the two of you can continue, don't bother about me, bye-bye. Qing Yutong immediately left. The gaze of brother-in-law and big sister is so scary. Yihua pushed Xianxia away and said calmly, I am going to take a bath. In actuality, his heart was not calm at all. Xianxia, who was angry just a moment ago, also cowered and sat cross-legged on the bed in a daze. The atmosphere between the two of them immediately became awkward. Even after Yihua came out from the bath, Xianxia did not say anything and just rushed into the bath. After that, the two of them just lay on the bed, one on the other side, and neither of them spoke first. Is your phone turned off? Yihua asked lightly. He was unable to hold it in anymore. Xianxia's tone was also not that cold. It is turned off. Just that, the two of them spoke one after another, and the atmosphere instantly quietened down. Roughly half an hour later, Xianxia finally could not hold it in anymore and asked lightly, Are you asleep? If you want to come over, then come over. Yihua said faintly. This woman really wants to save face. Xianxia snorted and lightly moved her body, then closed her eyes and hugged onto Yihua, as if by doing this she would not find out. She was purely deceiving herself. Just that, Yihua's heartbeat is a bit fast today. Why is my heartbeat also following the rhythm? This fellow is indeed messing around with the rhythm. Yihua, you are a cultivator and I am just an ordinary person, will you? Before Xianxia finished speaking, Yihua interrupted and said solemnly, I won't. This was the tacit understanding that a husband and wife should have. There were some words that the other party did not need to finish speaking, and the other party would know. Yihua was just like this. Xianxia's character was more or less clear. To put it simply, she was a hedgehog that did not have any sense of security. Before tonight, Xianxia felt that the gap between her and Yihua was not that big. In any case, Yihua was also the boss of a bar and both of them were bosses. However, now it had changed. Yihua was not only a boss, he was also a cultivator, and in the novels he was able to ascend to immortality. The huge sense of loss made Xianxia very melancholy, feeling that Yihua was suddenly very far away from her. Thus, she made Yihua look as angry as usual, and the facts proved that Yihua was still the same. However, she kept feeling that she would lose Yihua, perhaps on the day when the child was born. After all, the promise that she made on that day was still lingering in her mind. Chapter 90. Carrying along this uneasy feeling, Xianxia gradually fell asleep. Hugging onto Yihua while sleeping is very comfortable. If I suddenly lose him one day, I will probably suffer from insomnia. Right now, Yihua was also thinking blindly, but he wasn't as emotional as Xianxia. Instead, he was thinking about how to get back my face. Could it be that I have to show off my manliness in front of her? I wonder if killing millions of people would be enough. If that's the case, she would willingly submit to me. This doesn't seem right. Just what is wrong? This is so vexing. Just like that, the two gradually fell asleep with their own feelings, until the sound of knocking on the door rang out in the morning. waking Yihua and Xianxia up. Brother-in-law big sister, Qing Yutong stood outside the door and shouted. From her tone, one could tell that she was asking for someone. Yihua patted onto Xianxia's shoulder. Go and open the door. Xianxia grabbed onto her hair. What are you doing so early in the morning? What's the matter? Xianxia opened the door and asked angrily. Qing Yutong could be seen to have already changed her clothes, wearing a big round hat and sunglasses. She should be considered to be fully armed. Big sister, didn't you tell me to go to Gaohai City today? It's so dangerous for me to go to the airport alone. Aren't you and brother-in-law going to send me off? Qing Yutong blinked her beautiful eyes, pulled onto Xianxia's arm and said coquettishly. Xianxia wrinkled her brows. You are already an adult. Do you still need to send me off? Can't you just drive directly to the airport? Big sister, you don't even care about your little sister. My heart hurts. Yihua was no longer sleepy. He got off the bed and said, let's just go and send her off and eat breakfast on the way. The corner of Qing Yutong's mouth twitched. I feel like it's all thanks to breakfast. Since the man has already spoken, what else can Xianxia say? She went to wash up. 15 minutes later, the two were ready. Xianxia on the other hand was very happy right now because there was no need for her to put on makeup. Her face was simply too stunning. Thinking back to the meat on that day, Xianxia was very curious. Could it really be dragon meat? Yutong drive. Xianxia threw the car key to her little sister. Qing Yutong knew that it would be like this. The two of them were masters, especially brother-in-law. That expression of his was just like an emperor coming out of the palace. Sitting on the Audi A8, Qing Yutong successfully obtained the identity of the driver, while Qing Yutong and Xianxia sat at the back. Qing Yutong, who was driving the car, silently thought to herself. Last night they were clearly quarreling so much, and in the end when I knocked open the door to take a look, I saw that they were actually lying on the bed and kissing. Yutong, for the next few days properly cooperate with us, all right? Don't cause any trouble again. Xianxia reminded. Xianxia understood her younger sister's personality very well. Yutong was puzzled. Qing said, Yutong, I said. It doesn't matter if it's 1 or 2 days. You have to get it done. All right, in any case you all just want to chase me away. When is my little nephew coming out? By then we would have already run away from home. Yutong? Xianxia. Xianxia was filled with melancholy. It was as if she had already seen her child running away from home along with her younger sister. Yi said, Qing. By day, Quiet down, what's there to quarrel about? Yihua said gravely. Quarreling every day, this is giving me a headache. The two goddess-like women pouted and quietened down. Half an hour later, Qing Yutong finally arrived at the airport. Aren't you two coming down to send me off? Yihua and Xianxia directly ignored her, and Xianxia even went up to the car and stepped on the accelerator, leaving behind Qing Yutong, who had an adorable look on her face. These two are simply angering me to death. They don't have a bit of sympathy. Let me tell you, I am going to run away from home for half a month. Seems to be a bit long. 1 week then. Let's see if you two are anxious or not. Qing Yutong, who was throwing a small tantrum, walked into the airport and immediately attracted attention. Although she was fully armed, her temperament could not be changed. Don't look at how Qing Yutong was carefree in front of Yihua and Xianxia. When she met outsiders, she would change. After all, Yihua and Xianxia were her relatives. In the car, Yihua said faintly, let's go out for a walk today. Cultivator, do you want to go on a date with me? Xianxia teased, the corner of her mouth unconsciously raised up. Can you remove the word cultivator from your mouth? Can't you speak properly? Yihua felt that telling her that he was a mistake. If he were to directly tell her that he was a supreme overlord, things would get out of hand. Xianxia laughed tenderly. All right, I will remove it from your mouth, all right? After remaining silent for a while, Yihua asked, what do you think of my personality? Xianxia was very puzzled. This fellow is not normal today. Do you still have a personality? Those who don't know would think that you are an emperor, your face is cold every day, and you even have problems with the most basic communication. Yihua, are you sick? Autism, you are also a cultivator, you have to hide your identity. Xianxia. Yihua shouted out gravely, this woman can't even leave the word cultivator out of her mouth right now. To even say that I am sick, her guts are really getting bigger and bigger. Look, after saying a few sentences of yours, you are jumping up again. As a human, you have to learn to be calm. Don't think that just because you are a cultivator that you are superior to others. You have to learn to integrate with others. Cultivator again. Cultivator again. Yihua really regretted admitting that he was a cultivator right now. After taking in a few deep breaths, Yihua calmly asked, Is there any way to solve it? Do I really have to solve it? Xianxia found it hard to believe. Yihua couldn't be having a fever today, right? I am thinking too much. Yihua just felt that learning human nature was not something that one could learn on the surface. One had to put it into practice. However, talking to these low-grade creatures, I feel very uncomfortable. I wonder how Wei Chang did it. Yihua lightly grunted, feeling that he had lost a lot of face. I will bring you to a place. I guarantee that you will be able to get rid of those bad habits of yours. Xianxia felt that today was really wonderful. Yihua is finally obedient. Bad habits. Yihua said gravely. This is the dignity of a supreme overlord, but when it comes to her mouth, it became a bad habit. Could it be that it is a good habit? Xianxia snorted. Half an hour later, Xianxia brought Yihua to a place that was overcrowded with people, the pedestrian street of Long'an City. Last time I even came here to eat skewers. Why did you bring me here? Yihua asked faintly. Don't think too much, come with me. Xianxia held onto Yihua's big hand and walked into Adi's specialty store. Inside the specialty store there were almost all female salespeople, and when they saw such a handsome guy they all rushed over. When they saw the woman beside Yihua, they immediately stopped their footsteps. The woman was so beautiful that it made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. Xianxia sized up the sportswear, then looked at the suit that Yihua was wearing. Don't dress so solemnly all day when it is time to relax, relax. Yihua remained silent. What are you in a daze for? Go and buy it. Xianxia pushed Yihua, letting Yihua take the initiative to ask. Chapter 91. Yihua's breathing became a bit hurried. Are these small fries even qualified to talk to me? However, I have to assimilate into the human race. Assimilate? If I am unable to control my emotions later on, Xianxia will have to take the blame. Come over. Yihua shouted out gravely. The big sister was given a fright as she walked towards Yihua while trembling with fear, and her face was a bit pale. Xianxia held onto her forehead. Can you be a bit more gentle? What are you being so fierce for? Fight. Shut up. Yihua said petulantly. Xianxia snorted coldly, then walked to the side and ignored Yihua. Yihua rubbed his temples. Sooner or later, I will explode from anger because of Xianxia. Xianxia, come over. Xianxia, who was pretending to choose clothes, snorted, but she still walked over. I'm sorry, my husband is sick. He has a language barrier. Just a moment ago you even roared at me. See if I don't teach you a lesson. Don't think that you can bully me just because you are a cultivator. Oh, so it's like that. The big sister was relieved. She was scared to death. Right now, Yihua's mood was just like Jianyun's mood yesterday, constipated. Beauty, does this set of clothes come with a couple's outfit? Xianxia asked curiously. The waiter smiled and said, Miss, of course. Xianxia poked the angry Yihua. What are you doing? Bargaining. Xianxia shook her head. This husband of mine is just like a child, he doesn't know anything. Yihua's brows wrinkled deeply. Have I ever seen a supreme overlord haggling over the price when buying something? This wasn't bargaining, this was lowering the price. If word of this got out, where would his face go? We need to interact more with each other. Xianxia said in a low voice. Yihua took a deep breath then asked, How much? The lady was still very shy. She looked at the price and said, 489 yuan. Hearing that humans like to bargain with the lowest price, Yihua had an answer in his heart and said gravely, Too expensive, 1 RMB. The big sister was instantly stupefied and even Xianxia was stupefied. This fellow isn't messing with me, right? However, looking at that incomparably serious face of his, he doesn't seem to be joking with me. Sir, although you are handsome, you can't bargain like this. The young lady wanted to cry. Even a handsome guy couldn't bully people like this. Xianxia was hating iron for not becoming steel. How can it be returned like this? Let me do it, you learn more from me. Xianxia let out a sigh. To think that I, the madam, would still have to do it. Seems like Yihua has cultivated himself to the point that he became stupid. Xianxia picked up her clothes and touched it, then frowned and said faintly, For 89 is too expensive, how about this for 188? What an auspicious number. This time, it was Yihua's turn to be a little stupefied. This is called bargaining? It seemed that this woman was even more ignorant than he was. Yihua is still obedient. I will take care of you when we return home tonight. Yihua said gravely. If I don't beat you up for a day, you will start to climb up the beam and tear down the tiles. Xianxia could be seen touching her abdomen. Baby, daddy is going to hit mommy, what do you think I should do? My God, Yihua is not only regretting yesterday night, he is also regretting that night. This woman is simply like a curse to me. The two returned to the pedestrian street. Xianxia looked at Yihua, who was sullen, and felt that it was very funny. She asked lightly, "Yihua, last night you secretly kissed me? Here it comes again. I already have 3 of my weaknesses in her hands. I simply want to die. If you are not happy, you can kiss me back." Yihua said gravely, "I, the Supreme Overlord, would also have such a day. I really didn't expect that." Xianxia tiptoed and said sweetly, "As long as you admit that you are a swindler, I can let you do whatever you want, just like that night." Immediately, the anger within Yihua's body rose rapidly, causing Yihua to turn pale with fright. "I am actually being controlled by this woman. How is this possible? The words that I, Yihua, have said before are of enormous weight. Alright, let's see how long you can keep your words to yourself for." Xianxia's breath was like an orchid. She had Yihua firmly in her grasp. Seeing that Yihua was angered to the point that he was speechless again, Xianxia said sweetly, "How about we go and take a risk?" "What do you mean?" "Let's just sit on a random car and go wherever we go, how about it?" In actuality, Xianxia had a small wish, and that was to go on a trip without any purpose. Boring. Let's go, let's go." "Xianxia, when did you learn Yutong's moves?" Yihua wrinkled his brows. Xianxia's expression immediately changed as she shouted out coldly, "Are you going or not? Actually, it is also good to learn from Yutong." "Xianxia, don't compare children with those inferior races," Yihua said in displeasure. Xianxia muttered, "I'm just asking, why are you getting angry again?" After eating a small mouthful of the star-cleansing sparrow's meat, Xianxia seemed to have thought of something, and her mood instantly became gloomy. "Yihua. How long can you two live?" Xianxia asked gravely. Yihua finally knew what Xianxia was thinking about. This woman is actually worried about this. Thus, I decided to tease her a little. "A very, very long time," Yihua said leisurely. "Then when I get old, will you still be so young?" Xianxia's eyes turned red. "When I think about how old I am, and how Yihua is still the same as before, I even have the heart to die. This silly woman, she is eating the star-cleansing sparrow's meat, and she is still worried about her appearance." Yihua said faintly, "If nothing unexpected happens, it will be like this." This time, Xianxia was really sad, and tears of helplessness fell out from her eyes. If only Yihua was an ordinary person. Yihua didn't expect that Xianxia's reaction would be so big. He was startled for a moment, then said slowly, "Of course, I also have a way." What way? Teach me." Hearing that there was a way, Xianxia was like a person who was drowning, tightly grabbing onto that life-saving straw. For people like us, every part of our body is where the essence lies, so... Xianxia went into a daze for a moment, then immediately jumped onto Yihua's body and punched onto his chest. "Yihua! I didn't expect you to be so shameless and perverted." Yihua lightly hooked onto Xianxia's chin and said with a light smile, "Such a beautiful face, how can I bear to let you grow old?" "You are teasing me again, Yihua, I hate you, what a silly woman." Yihua laughed out loud, then hugged onto Xianxia's soft and delicate body. "Hugging onto my body feels very comfortable." Ripples appeared on the surface of the clear lake, and a light breeze blew onto Xianxia's soft and beautiful hair. Yihua caressed onto Xianxia's beautiful hair. "You, if only you didn't talk back to me." Xianxia closed her eyes and said, "You, if only you didn't act cool all the time." Yihua couldn't help but smack onto Xianxia's, "But, the one who acts cool all the time is you, right?" Xianxia opened her beautiful eyes and shouted out, "You only know how to smack my butt. Your butt sure is bouncy, it feels good." Yihua. "Right now, other than acting cool, you have also become a hooligan." Yihua hugged onto Xianxia tightly. "What's wrong with me acting like a hooligan towards my own wife?" Xianxia felt that this couldn't go on, so she said to Yihua, "I want to learn martial arts." "Why do you suddenly want to?" "Because I want to defeat you. And then bully you." Xianxia turned around and rode onto Yihua's body. Her posture was too explosive. Yihua laughed lightly. "Your way of thinking is perfect, but you won't be able to succeed. In this lifetime, I am definitely going to bully you. Humph, if you don't teach me, who would know? Perhaps you know that my talent is extremely good, and you are afraid that I will surpass you." Xianxia expressed that she was not convinced. "Failure isn't scary, what is scary is that you still believe in this sentence." Xianxia pouted, "How do you know that I will fail? From the moment you said that you want to surpass me, you were destined to fail. Humph, you are just stingy, stingy, stingy." Yihua. Yihua sighed, then held onto Xianxia's small hand, pointed towards the infinity ring and said, "With this ring, you are already invincible." Xianxia was confused. Other than looking good, this ring doesn't seem to have any other use. In the future you will know, my woman, why must you cultivate so bitterly? It is just like playing a game, we are all pay-to-win players, and we will forever be ahead of normal players. From level 1 to level 100, it is just a ding. Xianxia touched onto Yihua's forehead. Your illness is acting up again. Yihua raised his hand and was about to smack onto Xianxia's forehead, scaring Xianxia to the point that she jumped up and immediately ran away. See if I don't smack you today. Humph, you have to catch me first. Xianxia still had the innocence of a child and made a funny face. If Qing Yutong were to see this, she would definitely rub her eyes. Is big sister infected by me? You run slower. Don't slip and fall. Yihua warned gravely. You are still so crazy even though you are pregnant. Chapter 93. Suddenly, a cry for help came from the forest. A man covered in blood rushed out. His panicked face made it seem as if there was a great flood or fierce beast behind him. Save me, save me! The man ran towards Xianxia, who was in a daze. Unexpectedly, his legs became crooked and he tripped over himself. He slid for a full 3 meters before finally stopping in front of Xianxia's feet. His chin was almost bruised. Yihua snorted coldly. How can my woman be touched by someone like you? Yihua, quickly come and save them. Xianxia finally came back to her senses and shouted out loudly. Yihua walked over unhurriedly and sized up the man. He discovered that the man did indeed have injuries, but the injuries were not as serious as what he had shown. Furthermore, the fainting that the man was showing right now was just an act. Xuanhuan felt that he was really unlucky today. He heard that this mountain range was extraordinary, so he specially came over to check it out. In the end, he bumped into a disciple of the Cloud sect. Luckily, he escaped quickly, but he also discovered an unknown secret. If this news were to be leaked out, the entire cultivation world would be shaken. The Cloud sect actually secretly dug up a dragon vein. However, he was injured. If he continued like this, he would definitely be caught. Coincidentally, he saw a couple camping by the lake. After observing them for a while, he felt that they were both good people. After all, they were so in love with each other. The beautiful woman was running around like a child, shouting for him to come and catch her. She was really cute and kind. The man doted on the woman very much, so he was probably a kind-hearted person. When he saw someone like him in trouble, he would definitely help. Look at this beauty is anxiously shouting to save me. I am so happy, hurry up and drive me away. What happened? Yihua walked over and asked lightly. I don't know, he just ran out from the forest, quickly save him. Xianxia pulled onto Yihua's hand and shouted out anxiously. Yihua appeared very serious and said, Xianxia, don't worry, it's nothing big. Xuanhuan, who was lying on the ground, cursed under his breath. What kind of look was that? He was covered in blood, yet he said that he was fine. Only a fool would believe him. Then I can rest assured. Xianxia patted on her chest and let out a sigh of relief. Xuanhuan froze. How could you believe such words? Don't believe a man's mouth, believe your own eyes. Xianxia naturally believed in Yihua. After all, Yihua was a cultivator. Then why isn't he waking up? Xianxia walked over to Xuanhuan's side and asked curiously. He might have fainted from the fall. Just get some water to wake him up. That's right, why didn't I think of that? Xianxia slapped onto her forehead. I am truly becoming more and more stupid. Xuanhuan felt that he should wake up. There were wounds on his body and he couldn't touch water. Yihua. I didn't do it on purpose. I just wanted to save him. Yihua shook his head. Quickly go and get some water to splash him to wake him up. Xianxia, who was embarrassed, immediately took some water and splashed it on him again. When he wakes up, I will definitely apologize to him. I really didn't do it on purpose. Xuanhuan really fainted. Originally, I was still fine, I just wanted them to save me and drive away from here. In the end, I am really not far away from death. After Xianxia's unremitting efforts, Xuanhuan suddenly woke up and took a deep breath. Coincidentally, Xianxia splashed water on him. I'm finished, I choked. Cough, cough, cough. Cough, cough, cough. I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. Xianxia was about to cry from anxiousness. Why did I vomit blood again? Xuanhuan opened his eyes as if he was saying, don't torture me anymore, let me go, we can pretend that we never saw each other. Just that, in Xianxia's eyes, this kind of expression completely became a signal for help. Don't worry, this time I guarantee that I will step on the right place. Yihua slowly turned around. This is too cruel. Cough, 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 woo woo. Xuanhuan was in despair, he wanted to struggle to get up and leave, but he was held down by Xianxia. You can't leave now, you will die. K, if I don't leave now, I will die later on, you murderer. Xianxia immediately raised her leg, and this time she did not close her eyes. Aiming at the position she kicked down. A stream of blood sprayed out from Xuanhuan's mouth, and his entire body went limp, and his expression was no longer that painful. Xianxia, you saved his life. Yihua said with his hands behind his back. Xianxia let out a breath. What should we do next? Chapter 94. At this moment, two men in green robes ran out of the forest and saw Xuanhuan lying on the ground. Xuanhuan, on the other hand, seemed to have seen a life-saving straw, and with strength that came from who knows where, Xuanhuan crawled forward with all his might. Save me, quickly bring me away. The two disciples of the Cloud sect were dumbfounded. Just a moment ago this fellow was running with his life on the line. How did he become so withered in just a few minutes? It was as if he had masturbated dozens of tubes. Xianxia said apologetically, just now I was saving him and accidentally stepped on the wrong spot. This was the first time that Cloud sect's disciples heard that one has to step on someone to save someone, and they were a bit stupefied. But no matter what, they had found them. One of the men cupped his hands and said, Thank you both. Farewell. Xianxia also cupped her hands. About that, take care. Xuanhuan shed tears of remorse. He no longer believed in TikTok, who said that a good-looking person would have a beautiful heart. If God gave him another chance, he would definitely not ask them for help, even if he had to die. Yihua, I really didn't do it on purpose. Xianxia apologized. Yihua took out a tissue and wiped off the sweat on Xianxia's forehead. All right, didn't you save her? But don't worry, this is a medical accident, it wasn't done on purpose. After hearing Yihua's explanation, Xianxia felt relieved. That's right, this is only a medical accident. In actuality, this kind of treatment was indeed effective, and it wasn't because of Yihua's ill will. Yihua just wanted to punish this man. To actually dare to lie to me, it is already good enough that I didn't kill this man. Cloud sect's disciples were currently carrying Xuanhuan back to the sect, and one of the disciples cried out in surprise, Senior brother, he is bleeding. Isn't bleeding normal? But the location of the bleeding is not normal. Xuanhuan no longer felt anything. When he lowered his head to take a look, he immediately fainted. That woman is so terrifying. At the lakeside, Xianxia seemed to have walked out from the shadows and was eating the star-cleansing sparrow meat that other people yearn for even in their dreams. Yihua, is this really dragon meat? It will be fine if you just eat it, it is good for your skin. Yihua lit up a cigarette and looked at the sky, which was gradually becoming dark. Yihua, why do you treat me well sometimes? Xianxia asked curiously. Yihua turned his head around and took a look at Xianxia, as if he was saying, You idiot, how did you even think of such a question? If I don't treat you well, who should I treat well? No matter what, I am still the child's mother. Suddenly, Xianxia felt that other than being beautiful and rich, she didn't have anything else. Sigh. This is so depressing. Looking at Yihua's high and mighty appearance, Xianxia was in a bad mood and decided to just ignore Yihua and rest on the chair. What Yihua was currently thinking about was another matter. Tomorrow is the last day of the 3 days deadline. If Yihua doesn't return the money, then according to the previous rules, Yihua will have to pay back his life. To even dare to owe me money and not return it, Yihua's guts are not ordinary. No. Today was different from the past. Exterminating an entire sect was too vicious. Change it. This matter will be handed over to Wei Chang or Lai Gu to handle tomorrow. I still have to teach Xianxia a lesson. Look at her sleeping posture, my God, she is drooling again. Yihua, I want to spank your butt. In the dream, Xianxia shouted loudly. Yihua shook his head, then carried Xianxia and disappeared from the spot in an instant. When he reappeared, he had already arrived at the bedroom. After placing Xianxia onto the bed, Yihua covered her with a blanket. Coming to the office, Yihua said gravely, Wei Chang, Lai Gu, come over. In an instant, Wei Chang and Lai Gu put down the things that they were doing and appeared in front of Yihua, then respectfully called out, Your Honor. Looking at Lai Gu, Yihua asked, Has your body adapted to it? Lai Gu said happily, It is all thanks to your honor that subordinate was able to create a body for subordinate was able to experience the joy of being a human. Actually, I still prefer you to transform into a dog. Yihua lit up a cigarette and said. Lai Gu expressed that he was very embarrassed, while the corner of Wei Chang's mouth arced up. Wei Chang. Subordinate is here. What is the meaning between you and that waiter? Yihua asked. Wei Chang didn't dare to be careless and said gravely, Your Honor, subordinate is currently experiencing the feelings of humans. Feelings? This caused Yi Hua to be a little puzzled. What did you gain? Yi Hua asked. Wei Chang bowed his body and said, after spending these few days together, subordinate discovered that the feelings of humans are very strange. Yi Hua became interested and asked, how strange? When Xiao Tang is not around, subordinate will feel a bit uneasy, but when subordinate is together with Xiao Tang, subordinate will be able to calm down, that's about it. Wei Chang was also very vexed, he thought that he was poisoned. Yi Hua wrinkled his brows, why is this symptom a bit similar to mine? Lai Gu, tell me about your feelings. Yi Hua asked. Lai Gu paused for a moment and after thinking for a while he finally said, they are very awesome, Yi Hua. Wei Chang, if I were to ask you to go and kill that waiter right now, what would you do? Yi Hua's aura suddenly changed, and sharp killing intent emerged out from his body. A trace of hesitation appeared in Wei Chang's gaze, but very quickly, he changed his mind and knelt down on one knee. Subordinate will solemnly obey your honor's command. Yi Hua waved his hand. Alright, don't make it so serious. Wei Chang, it is fine for you to get a girlfriend and experience human nature, but your real identity has to be hidden. If your little girlfriend finds out, you should know how to deal with it. Subordinate understands. Wei Chang lowered his head and replied. Lai Gu, you are the same. Subordinate obeys your command. Yi Hua lit up another cigarette and asked, do you smoke? Wei Chang said, subordinate doesn't smoke. Lai Gu, smoking is bad for the lungs. Wei Chang looked towards Lai Gu confusedly. You still have lungs? Is there any news about the other 5 sins? Yi Hua took a puff of the cigarette and exhaled out the smoke. Lai Gu changed his frivolous expression and said solemnly, not at the moment. Your Honor, it has already been 5 years. The other 5 sins have not been found yet. I am afraid that something unexpected has happened. Wei Chang's tone was filled with killing intent. Towards traitors, there was no need to give any face, even if the traitor was a former comrade. Yi Hua let out a breath. Each of you 7 sins have your own unique points. If they were to join hands, the 2 of you would not be their match, but you are still able to fight them one-on-one. Wei Chang and Lai Gu remained silent. The other 5 sins were powerful. Not only were they powerful, their personalities were also twisted. How could Yi Hua and his 2 subordinates not have twisted personalities as well? It was just that after learning for 5 years, their personalities became slightly better. However, who knows what the other 5 sins are doing? Perhaps they are still maintaining their original character. Yi Hua extinguished the cigarette butt, and a trace of red light flashed past his pitch-black pupils. My 7 subordinates are just like my 7 children. If the other 5 sins were to really betray me, should I kill them or not? Furthermore, the strength of the other 5 sins is not to be underestimated. Let's put this problem aside first, we will deal with it in the future. Let's deal with that Xiao family that owes money and doesn't return it first. Yi Hua sat on the boss's chair and said calmly. Chapter 95. Lai Gu let out a sigh of relief. This kind of small matter is what Wei Chang likes to do the most. It is still more comfortable for me to lie on the bed. Lai Gu, how do you think we should deal with this matter? Yi Hua asked. The latter paused and swallowed his saliva. His honor is here to test me again, I cannot be careless. Your Honor, just a mere human dares to not pay back the money he owes, of course he has to pay back the money with his life. Kill them all. Lai Gu was still the same as before, killing all the people he meets. Wei Chang, how do you think we should deal with this matter? Wei Chang pursed his dry lips. According to the usual routine, I will definitely kill all the people I meet. I can give up the money but I cannot lose my face. However, His Honor will definitely not follow the usual routine just like that long-out yen. Your Honor, those who owe money and don't pay back are the most evil. I suggest that we kill the person closest to them. Yi Hua was somewhat attracted by Wei Chang's suggestion. This is a bit interesting, tell me about it. Subordinate thinks that what humans fear the most is losing their loved ones. In the past, when we were fighting all over the world, we also saw it, but we didn't understand it. However, after 5 years of understanding, other than money, what humans care about is their family. Lai Gu took a look at Wei Chang. Where did this gluttonous freak find this fallacious reasoning from? Lai Gu look at Wei Chang. When can you be as sensible as Wei Chang? Yi Hua was gratified. I finally made Wei Chang's IQ online. Subordinate is incompetent. I will definitely properly learn about human nature in the future. Lai Gu thought in his heart, learning about human nature on the bed. Yi Hua continued to ask, Wei Chang, who do you think Xiao Yi cares about the most? Here comes another problem, Wei Chang thought to himself. If it's me, Other than his honor, it would be Xiao Tang. That's right. It's a woman. Subordinate thinks that the person Xiao Yi cares about the most is definitely his woman. Yi Hua felt that what Wei Chang said was reasonable. Nothing in life is more important than losing one's true love. Yi Hua went into a daze. What am I thinking about, true love? Wei Chang, you handle this matter as you see fit. Take the money, kill the person too. I will obey your honor's command. Let's do it tomorrow night at 12 o'clock. If he returns the money, then forget it. Yi Hua added. Wei Chang and Lai Gu went into a daze, then knelt on the ground and shouted, "Congratulations, your honor." What joy! These two fellows had learned the human's flattery skills the most. Lai Gu sighed with emotion. His honor is clearly able to use his martial power, yet he just had to use his brain. As a subordinate, I am truly unable to catch up to him. What Lai Gu said is right. If it was in the past, his honor would have long since ordered us to kill him. But today his honor actually said to spare his life. From this, it can be seen that his honor's control over human nature has already reached the pinnacle. Subordinate is blushing with shame. Wei Chang was so excited that he even sprayed out his saliva, and that expression on his face didn't seem to be bootlicking. Lai Gu, who was at the side, was stupefied. This gluttonous monster's performance is pretty good. You all. Yi Hua laughed helplessly. Compared to the past, the current atmosphere was much warmer. Dong dong dong, Yi Hua, are you inside? Xianxia's voice rang out. You guys go ahead. Wei Chang and Lai Gu bowed and left, then disappeared from the office. Just at this moment, Xianxia pushed open the door and walked in. When did we come back? Not too long ago. Yi Hua opened the window and let the smoke disperse a bit. Although it was just a small action, Xianxia's heart still felt warm. Yi Hua, let's go out to eat, watch a movie and take a walk. All right. Yi Hua let out a breath. The human emotions that Wei Chang spoke of, are they really that mysterious? Could it be that I, the Supreme Overlord, already care about this woman? This is truly inconceivable. Emotions are the most mysterious thing in the human mind. Even a strong person like Yi Hua is about to fall into such a state. It is truly not easy. However, this kind of emotion was still continuously warming up. This was something that the two people didn't expect. Yi Hua admired Xianxia's courage to be angry and speak out, and Xianxia liked Yi Hua's concern. Although Xianxia has a bad temper sometimes, overall, Xianxia is still considered to be good. The morning sunlight was always so gentle. Without his sister-in-law at home, there seemed to be a bit less joy, but at the same time, it was also a lot quieter. Wake up, Ing monster. Ing. To be honest, Yi Hua rather liked Xianxia, who was acting coquettishly. Caressing onto Xianxia's smooth long hair, Yi Hua thought to himself, these days are pretty good. It is a bit better than the lonely days I had in the past. Seeing that Xianxia was lazing around on the bed and not getting up, Yi Hua could only take forceful measures and directly carried Xianxia to the washroom. Xianxia naturally didn't want to comply, and the sound of quarreling immediately rang out. Xianxia, who lost the quarrel, pouted and went out to buy breakfast, while Yi Hua went to his sister-in-law's bedroom, turned on the computer and prepared to play games. I still have to practice my skills. No matter what, I have to bring my wife and sister-in-law to eat chicken, and not listen to the two of them complain. And after Xianxia came back, she saw that Yi Hua was secretly playing games, so of course she had to join in. In the end, the two of them had to play as a pair, and both of their lunch and dinner were takeaway. Yi Hua had led my wife astray. Yi Hua, play one more round, I want to eat chicken. Xianxia pulled onto Yi Hua's sleeve and begged pitifully. Yi Hua pointed towards the clock. Look at what time it is already 11:30 a.m., don't you want to sleep anymore? Please play one more round. You have been saying that you will play one more round since 10 a.m., you are already a person who is going to be a mother. Really, this is definitely the last round. After playing, let's go to sleep. Xianxia opened her big watery eyes and even learned from her little sister to act cute, simply refreshing Yi Hua's understanding of her. This was also under the situation where Qin Yutong was not present. If she was present, Xianxia would definitely have the appearance of a big sister. This way she would appear to have a deterrent force, and in the end Xianxia was slowly accepting Yi Hua. Yi Hua let out a breath. One more round. Thank you, hubby moi. Kiss my face full of saliva. TSK, this beauty here kissed you and you still dislike it. You can play by yourself. Don't, hubby, I know my mistake. Only a capable man can bring his wife to eat chicken, and Yi Hua actually forgot about the proper business. Luckily Wei Chang still remembered. Wei Chang, who was currently on the first floor, looked at the clock. It is almost midnight, I still have to collect what I should collect. Walking to the toilet, he closed the door and called out, "Death Mage." Within a villa in Long'an City, Death Mage was currently drinking beer and watching the match between Germany and South Korea. Isn't it obvious that Germany is going to win? Death Mage decided to gamble one more time, betting on Germany to win. Just when the match had just started, he received a summon from his master. This was the hardest time to make a decision in one's life. Death Mage chose his master, but where did his scythe go? Finally, Death Mage found his scythe at a corner of the kitchen. Dust had already gathered on it. I have to wipe it. I can't let my master find out that I am slacking off. According to my master's orders, I am currently guarding that long out yen. Chapter 96. Master. Death Mage respectfully lied on the ground and shouted out, hoping that his master would quickly give the order, "I still have to go back and watch the match." Wei Chang wrinkled his brows. However, he did not ask too much about it. There is a Xiao family in Zijin City, and the family head, Xiao Yi, owes his honor 50 billion. Go and get the money back. Other than that, kill his most important woman. Do as you see fit. A mere trash dares to owe his honor money, and even caused master to be so vexed. How can killing a single person be enough to appease his honor's anger? I would like to be so bold as to request to kill his entire family. The corner of Wei Chang's mouth twitched. Wasn't this line used by him in the past? It seemed like he really wasn't as bloody as he was in the past. How can you change his honor's orders as you wish? Wei Chang shouted out lightly. What an unruly fellow. This subordinate deserves to die. As soon as it's midnight, you can make your move. Death Mage did not dare to ask too much about it. Why did they have to wait until midnight before taking action? This is truly strange. The opponent's strength is not bad. Wei Chang warned before opening the door. Master, don't worry, subordinate will definitely get back his honors 50 billion and a life. Go. Yes. When Wei Chang walked out of the toilet, he just happened to see Tang Wei walking over. Uncle Wei, Tang Wei called out sweetly as a blush appeared on her cheeks. Xiao Tang, when we close the door, Uncle Wei will treat you to supper. Wei Chang said with a smile. Yi Hua thought that Wei Chang would personally take action, but who knew that Wei Chang had a date at night, and thus called his subordinate over. In actuality, his subordinate was still going to watch the football match at night. If it wasn't for Wei Chang saying that the opponent wasn't weak, Death Mage would definitely have sent his subordinate over. The Zijin City's Xiao family was located in the northern suburbs. This was a manor that occupied an extremely large area. To be precise, it was not a manor, but a mansion. Just like the residence of the prince in the past, it was all Chinese-style buildings with small bridges and flowing water. The environment was elegant, and it was the enjoyment of an emperor. In the east courtyard of the Xiao family, Xiao Yi was lying on a big bed with two beautiful wives beside him. One of them was Nangong Sini and the other was Yuqi. She was the most beautiful girl in the school, but she was taken away by Xiao Yi. But that was 10 years ago. Although it had been 10 years, Xiao Yi's wives were still the same as before, showing no signs of aging. This was all thanks to Xiao Yi himself. Big brother Xiao, you're finally willing to accompany me today. Yuqi stretched out her index finger and drew circles on Xiao Yi's firm chest. Nangong Sini laughed softly. Brother Xiao, little sister Yu is hungry and thirsty. His 5-hand bones were holding onto his phone, and the phone was still lying horizontally. The commentator's passionate voice was currently ringing out from the phone. 100 meters away from Death Mage, there were a few scouts that were holding onto night vision goggles and looking at the situation. Quickly look at the wall, there is an idiot. Quickly let me take a look, damn it. Seriously, not only did he not sleep in the middle of the night, he actually came to Xiao residence to cosplay, and he even dressed up as a Grim Reaper. Awesome. He seems to be watching the World Cup. Did you place a bet on the match between Germany and South Korea tonight? Of course, Germany is the defending champion. I even used the money that I used to buy a house to bet that Germany will win. Me too, if Germany wins, I will become a young model at the club. If Germany loses, I will become a slave. Haha, you know me best, my brother. However, we have already waited for a few days, and we still haven't seen a single ghost. That's right, there are only damn mosquitoes. Death Mage naturally knew that there were a few groups of humans in the surroundings, but he was not interested in caring about them. Right now, what he was concerned about was the match. Germany team, quickly score a goal. There are still 8 minutes before I have to start working. If I were to lose tonight, all of them will be castrated. Motherf *Kerr, this family is truly tired of living, to actually dare to even owe his honor money. causing me to not be able to watch the match in the middle of the night. It is a pity that His Honor asked me to only kill one person. What kind of great luck did they have? Looking at the time on the phone, Germany team still did not score a goal. Death Mage let out a breath of relief. After I teach them a lesson, I will cheat, I swear. Next time I will definitely not cheat. After keeping away his phone, Death Mage raised up his scythe and walked towards the front door step by step. Going through the back door? That is impossible. It is impossible in this lifetime. Who is it? Of course, Xiao family had their own security measures. When Xiao family saw a person that was wearing a black robe and holding onto a scythe that was even taller than a person, and that scythe's blade was shining with a silver light under the moonlight, Xiao family's appearance had already explained everything. Chapter 97. It was just that the Xiao clan's security did not expect that there would be someone who dared to come here alone. This aura was not bad and they did not know where that prop came from. GGG. Death Mage naturally wouldn't be able to speak, and only Wei Chang was able to understand what Death Mage was saying. Imperial translation: they're here to collect their debt. Where did this lunatic come from? Get lost. Otherwise we'll beat you up. One of the security guards took out an electric baton and poked it in his palm. GGG, Imperial translation: if it wasn't for His Honor's request to only kill one person, the two of you would have long turned into dust on the ground. Yo, I'm giving you face but you don't want it. What the hell are you laughing at? See if I don't beat you to death. 2 rays of black light shot out from Death Mage's hand, and the security guards who were still acting arrogantly just a moment ago were instantly unable to move. They were unable to even shout out, and only their eyes were filled with shock and fear. The jaws of the spy squatting outside almost dropped to the ground. Damn it. They weren't here to be funny, they were here to cause trouble. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Quick, report the situation here. Very quickly, the situation at this side fell into the ears of the various big clans. The sky above Zijin City was suddenly covered by a layer of dark clouds, and it was filled with oppression. Death Mage walked past the two of them, and with a push of his arms, the front door of the Xiao family was easily pushed open. When the security guards inside saw that the front door was pushed open by a stranger who was dressed like a Grim Reaper, without saying anything, they immediately took out their guns and opened fire. Bang bang bang. The gunshot was so ear-piercing in the quiet night. Xiao Yi had just turned off the lights, and Yu Qi's underwear was already down to her knees. Suddenly there was a gunshot. How many years has it been? When did so many gunshots come from the Xiao family? The two wives were also shocked. Nangong Sini immediately turned on the lights. Brother Xiao. Xiao Yi put on his pajamas and frowned. Don't come out, I'll go take a look. Be careful. The two girls warned. They were wondering who had come to the Xiao clan. How audacious of him. However, the gunshots outside became less and less. Soon it became quiet. The two women looked at each other and relaxed. It seemed that Xiao Yi had been taken care of. Let's go out and take a look. Nangong Sini said. Yes. Yu Qi put on her pajamas and followed beside Nangong Sini. When she went out, she saw 4 beautiful women walking over. It seems like they are all Xiao Yi's wives. His luck with women is really not shallow. The 6 wives slowly came to the front yard, and the strange scene made them suck in a breath of cold air. There were even 3 exclamation marks, indicating that Death Mage was very angry. Xiao Yi tightly held onto the broken emperor sword in his hand. I am here to trample on the debt. When have I ever owed someone money? What a joke. Not right. That night 3 days ago, that man. Could it be that that man told me to come here to trample on the debt? Calculating the time that Qing Yutong called me, today just happens to be the 3rd day. Just like that, it's already a match. 50 billion. What that prodigal earned was all cash, and where would I find 50 billion in cash? It is possible to gather the money, but if the capital chain is broken, the company will definitely be suppressed by others. This was also why I wanted to deny the 50 billion. If it was 5 billion, it would still be fine. Nangong Sini also thought so, but she didn't expect that the person who denied the money would come to trample on the debt, and this person even made her husband vigilant. Sisters, let's go in, don't disturb brother Xiao. Nangong Sini said tenderly. Towards her husband, she trusted him a lot. It could be said that her husband had never been defeated before. The women had also seen such a scene before. Although they were worried, they didn't want to distract their husband. All of them returned to the backyard and waited for their husband's triumphant return. Xiao Yi's gaze was deep, and at the same time, the desire that he had been immersed in for a long time was ignited. Being unrivaled is lonely, It has been a long time since I was this excited. Right now, it is hard to find an opponent. It is either that the opponent has some misgivings or the opponent doesn't dare to. In any case, there are all sorts of reasons. And this person in front of me, wrong. He is not a human. No matter what he came here for today. This battle must definitely be fought and it must be won. If not, Xiao family will become a laughing stock in the entire north. This is something that is absolutely not allowed to happen. I reckon that right now there are already a lot of eyes staring at us. Xiao Yi took a deep breath. Let's fight at another place. Death Mage waved his left hand, indicating that he didn't mind. Such a disdainful action caused Xiao Yi to sneer. You don't even know who is standing in front of you. Do you think that I, the Emperor, will be afraid of you? Chapter 98. The two of them instantly disappeared from the Xiao mansion. When they appeared again, they were already in the mountains several kilometers away. This place was desolate and uninhabited, and it was extremely suitable for a fierce battle. Just like what Xiao Yi had expected, all of the leaders of the powerful families in Zijin City knew about what had happened to the Xiao family. At first, he thought that it was just a joke, but he didn't expect that the other party was actually serious. At the other side of the northern suburb of Zijin City, there was a manor that was very modernized. And under the surface of this modernized manor, various kinds of mechanisms were concealed, and all of them were personally designed by Tang Wuxuang. That's right. This was Tang Wuxuang's home. At this moment, Tang Wuxuang had also received the news from his subordinate, and he seemed to be very surprised. There is really someone who dares to provoke Xiao clan. Was that man inflated? Or ignorance? Bam. Bang. I won. Tang Wuxuang let out a heavy sigh. He had married over 10 wives, and only after he married them did he realize that all of them were gambling experts. Even his gold desert eagle was used as a gambling cushion. Standing up, Tang Wuxuang placed his hands behind his back and let out a long sigh. Why are all the people with the surname Tang so miserable? Could it be that I am the reincarnation of Tang Bohu? Wuxuang? Xuanhuan walked over with a smile. Tang Wuxuang was gratified. Finally, there was someone who was obedient. Unrong you, Wuxuang, I'm out of money? Give me a few million first. Tang Wuxuang's entire body froze. Wuxuang, I'm just joking. Tang Wuxuang couldn't help but rub his wife's nose. Little mischievous, I'm afraid a few million is not enough. How about 10 million? Tang Wuxuang requested for a close-up shot of the scene where Tang Wuxuang spurted out blood. Alright, I won't joke around anymore. Did something happen on Brother Zhao's side? Xuanhuan pinched her husband's face and smiled. What a fool. Tang Wuxuang smiled helplessly, and there's news. If I didn't guess wrongly, they should be here to collect the debt. Wuxuang, Brother Xiao is so powerful. He should be able to settle this easily. Unrong, do you mean that you don't want me to get involved in this matter? Tang Wuxuang wrinkled his brows. He didn't understand the profound meaning behind Enrong's words. Xuanhuan held onto Tang Wuxuang's arm and walked out of the chess room. Then they arrived at the garden outside. Firstly, Brother Zhao's strength is very powerful, and even if you were to go, you wouldn't be able to do anything. We won't do something like adding flowers to brocade, and if we are going to do something, we will have to do something like sending charcoal in snowy weather. Timely help? Tang Wuxuang's brows became very deep. Brother Zhao's reputation in the circle is very big, even surpassing yours. Wuxuang, although you don't say it, I can see that you still care about it. Xuanhuan looked at her husband's expression and continued, Tonight, if Brother Xiao is safe and sound, we will pretend that we didn't say anything. If anything happens to Brother Xiao, Wuxuang, this is your chance. But Tang Wuxuang fell into a multiple-choice question, and it was very hard for him to make a decision. Wuxuang, if Brother Xiao really falls tonight, you really have to prepare for a rainy day. Zijin City will undergo another big reshuffle. All the big families, hidden families, sects, the world of cultivators, the world of special abilities, and those who live under the wings of the Xiao family will have to make new choices. But I don't want to betray Brother Xiao. After all, he saved my life. Xuanhuan sighed. How could she not know? But to help her man reach the top, she would have to sacrifice a lot. Wuxuang, I'm not asking you to betray Brother Xiao. You just need to be a good person. In an instant, Tang Wuxuang understood what his wife meant. If Brother Xiao were to be defeated tonight, then the entire Xiao family would be without a leader, and with the identity of Xiao Yi's brother, he would be able to support the Xiao family once again. Not only that, he would be able to obtain benefits from this, and furthermore he wouldn't lose his reputation, and other people would even praise him for being loyal. Wuxuang, don't think too much. Brother Xiao is very powerful. There are countless people who want to take him down, but none of them succeeded. It's very difficult for the thing we're talking about to happen. If it happens, it'll be your chance. Of course, you don't have to choose this path. After all, it's just a suggestion. Xuanhuan kissed her husband's cheek and walked into the house, but suddenly stopped as if she had thought of something. Wuxia, you still have a master. Xiaoyi doesn't have this. Tang Wuxia's body trembled. Master. How could he not know that this was a rare opportunity to swallow up the Xiao family? Then the whole Tang family would be flipped upside down. At that time, the Bai family would be nothing, and there would still be those aristocratic families eyeing them covetously. But the prerequisite was that Xiaoyi had to die. The probability of that was even lower than winning the lottery. And in the western suburb of Zijin City, there was a castle. Looking at it from afar, it looked very much like the vampire castle that was shown in the movies. Furthermore, if one wanted to enter the castle, one had to pass through a drawbridge. This was the place where the Bai family lived, and the woman who lived here was Bai Cixin, who was known as the Beauty of the North. In the living room of the castle, 2 men and a woman were sitting on a sofa that was as red as blood. The woman was Bai Cixin. Just like her name, her skin was extremely white, and even the clothes she was wearing were white as well. On her head, there was a white scarf, which added a sense of mystery to her. On her delicate hands she was wearing a pair of white gloves. And she was sitting on the main sofa, and the 2 men were sitting on both sides of her. There was no need to talk about the status of the family. Right now, she was holding onto a teacup, and with her bright red lips she was tasting the newly grown Maojian tea. Debao, don't buy this kind of tea anymore in the future. You know that I'm used to Dahongpo tea. Bai Cixin lightly placed down the teacup. She didn't care about how much this tea was worth at all. In Bai Cixin's heart, there was only good and bad tea. Wang Debao laughed embarrassedly. Wife, recently, Dahongpo tea is in short supply. If you want to drink it, you will have to wait for a while. Look for the person who is hoarding the goods. Bai Cixin said faintly, killing intent surfaced in her tone. Wang Debao liked his wife's aloof look because at night he would be aloof. Wife, you have the final say. Bai Qi, who was sitting at the side, was very melancholic. He didn't care whether it was Maojian tea or Dahongpo tea. In any case, it was bitter. Big sister, how are we going to deal with Longyan City? Bai Cixin said lightly, they are just some insignificant small figures during this period of time, don't go to the south. Understood, big sister. Bai Qi paused for a moment, then asked curiously, big sister, we just gave away that 50 billion? Is that true? Bai Qi still didn't understand his own big sister. On the surface, his big sister looked gentle and pleasant, but in the dark she was actually a female devil. This time, brother-in-law lost 50 billion, and when it was time for him to return the money, he would definitely ask big sister, and big sister actually agreed to it. In actuality, Wang Debao was also curious. He felt that his wife's intention was rather deep, but he didn't dare to ask about it. If he were to ask about it, it would make him seem like an idiot, as if he didn't even understand what was going on. It just so happened that his brother-in-law asked about it and everything went so smoothly. Debao, what do you think? Bai Cixin suddenly asked her husband. Chapter 99. Wang Debao's fingers subconsciously started trembling, and both of his legs were trembling. Why did she suddenly ask me this question? She's not playing by the rules. How can us men understand the wife's farsightedness? The wife's thoughts are as fine as a needle and meticulous. How can a husband dare to guess the wife's intentions blindly? In any case, everything that the wife says is right. Even if she is wrong, she is still right. Wang Debao felt that he had never felt so refreshed before. His bootlicking was done in one go and there was no pause in the middle. Bai Qi couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Brother-in-law's desire to live actually made his choice of words a lot sharper. Awesome. Bai Cixin lightly tapped onto her husband's forehead and said indifferently, when did I say that I will really give them the 50 billion? Ah. The use of the 50 billion will be tonight. Whether it is worth it or not will also be decided tonight. If it is not worth it, then we will take it back. Zijin City will not have a Qing family anymore. If it is worth it, then it couldn't be any better. The 2 men were stupefied. My dear wife is wise. Big sister is formidable. The 2 bootlickers. Perhaps the world might change tomorrow. Xiao family and Tang family seem to be in an alliance, but who would be willing to lower their head to the other? This is truly becoming more and more interesting. Bai Cixin shook her head, then rubbed her thumb and index finger together. Let's wait for the result tomorrow morning. Bai Qi, you should sleep early. "Hubby, let's go back to our room." "Okay," Wang Debao said happily, "there is nothing more pleasurable than being able to press down on my wife." Looking at big sister and brother-in-law leaving, Bai Qi couldn't understand, why does big sister like Wang Debao? This is truly depressing. However, not only Tang family and Bai family were discussing. Right now, many big figures had woken up from their dreams and were waiting for the result so that they could prepare for their next move. The debt collection this time around was not only a matter of money, it was also related to the interests of a lot of people. Among them, there was more than 50 billion, and Yihua's carelessness caused ripples to appear on the surface of the calm lake. The ripples were gradually forming into ocean waves. The temperature in the mountains was a bit low, but the killing intent that was being emitted out from Xiaoyi's body caused the temperature to drop once again. The tense atmosphere continued to condense, and a wave of killing intent spread out in all directions. Although the broken emperor sword in Xiaoyi's hand was not unsheathed, there was a sharp and fierce sword chi that was pressing towards Death Mage. Although Xiaoyi was only wearing a nightgown, Xiaoyi was like a king. As long as he waved the broken emperor sword in his hand, heads would roll and blood would float around. However, this kind of aura was completely useless against Death Mage. However, Death Mage was a ranged fighter while Xiaoyi was a melee fighter. It was clear that Death Mage was at a disadvantage. Adding on the fact that Xiaoyi was not an ordinary person, he had a lot of battle experience. It was very easy for him to find the opponent's weak point and deal a fatal blow. However, the Death Mage was not just for show. Although the Death Mage had developed a bad habit of betting on football matches, its battle prowess was not to be underestimated. Wei Chang had even said before that the number of experts that had died in the hands of the Death Mage were innumerable, because they had all committed the same mistake, and that was underestimating their enemies. But this time, Death Mage's opponent was an immortal emperor. Although he hadn't reached the peak, it was enough to make him suffer. Furthermore, this time, it wasn't that others were underestimating their enemy, it was Death Mage who had started to underestimate his enemy. Because Death Mage felt that there was no one powerful enough on this planet, even if it was the person in front of him. "I don't care if you're here for your debt or your life. Today you will become a dead soul under my sword." Xiaoyi was not an ordinary person, and he wouldn't wait for his opponent to make the first move. A bright light burst out from Xiaoyi's eyes, and in the blink of an eye, a sword light flew towards Death Mage. Like a ghost, the sword light flew straight towards Death Mage's forehead. When experts were fighting, they definitely wouldn't use their strength at the start. Instead, they would use probing attacks just like what Xiaoyi was doing. Don't look down on Xiaoyi. If it was Tang Wuxuang, he would have to deal with Xiaoyi properly. Although Death Mage looked down on Xiaoyi, he didn't dare to easily receive Xiaoyi's sword attack. What Master said is indeed correct. This man's strength is indeed formidable. No matter if it is his strength or his speed, this man has already seen through the next sword attack. Xiaoyi's gaze became serious. As expected, this man is an expert. Xiaoyi gave up on stabbing towards Death Mage in front of him, and instead turned around and slashed towards Death Mage. Emperor Broken Sword immediately blossomed with a dazzling light, forming a sword chi that slashed towards the air. The air in front of Xiaoyi immediately flared up, and the trees in front of Xiaoyi were all sliced into two. Death Mage, who was behind Xiaoyi, gradually disappeared and reappeared not far away from Xiaoyi. His body had already been sliced into two by the sword chi. Actually, in that instant, Xiaoyi felt that there was something wrong with the Death Mage in front of him, so he decisively swung his sword at Death Mage. Looking at the Death Mage who was sliced into two, Xiaoyi once again felt the loneliness of being invincible. This Death Mage is already the most formidable opponent that I have met in these few years, and he actually almost tricked me. Luckily, I reacted fast enough, otherwise I would have made a fool out of myself. This person is not that great, but tomorrow, it should be my turn to go and trample on the debt. This debt is much bigger than 50 billion. Qing family. You guys better prepare to receive my Xiaoyi's fury. Beep. Just when Xiaoyi started fantasizing about himself torturing the Qing family, a black lightning struck towards Xiaoyi. Xiaoyi didn't have enough time to dodge, so he used his sword to block the attack, and the runes on the hilt of the sword released a light shield. The black lightning instantly collided with the light shield. There was no bright light, the two of them disappeared at the same time, and it seemed like the light shield was cancelled out. Xiaoyi's expression was gloomy, and looking at the black figure who was not far away from him, he raised his arm and pointed his index finger at Xiaoyi. That disgusting sound came out from his mouth, as if he was laughing at Xiaoyi. However, Xiaoyi was indeed fooled. The one that Xiaoyi killed just now was only an illusion, and Xiaoyi's real body was nowhere to be found. Furthermore, A layer of the runes on the broken emperor's sword had also been used up. Immediately, Xiao Yi's nightgown fluttered even though there was no wind, and the aura that Xiao Yi was emitting was still continuously rising. Even the leaves on the ground were starting to float into the air. When Death Mage saw Xiao Yi who was in front of him, he became interested. Xiao Yi is the strongest human that I have seen in the past 5 years, just that, the smell that Xiao Yi is emitting is very nauseating. Heaven Punishment Sword Art, Brahma Heaven's Will. When had Xiao Yi ever been deceived like this before? Xiao Yi decided to take out his trump card and end the battle quickly. The broken emperor's sword seemed to have sensed its master's fury and soared into the sky. In this pitch-black night, the broken emperor's sword shone like a star. A terrifying power quickly gathered at the tip of the broken emperor's sword, and the sky immediately changed color, and a rumbling sound suddenly rang out, piercing through the entire world. Death Mage raised his head and looked at the sky, then fiercely stabbed the death scythe into the ground with his right hand. Boom! The rumbling sound caused Xiao Yi's expression to sink even further. My opponent's strength is actually this strong as well. That stab from the side just now caused the entire ground to shake. Death Mage stretched out 5 of his fingers, and black threads were coming out from all 5 of his fingers. GGG, Royal Translation, Cave of Darkness. You're tuning in to the Sword Dance in the Vast Sky YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.